All right, welcome once again to the Johnny Come Latelys episode whatever, because last week was a reboot and I've lost count. I am Monadrew, as it says on the new name tag below me, and this is... No,
Cambrian. Hello.
the dreaded Cambrian, as it says on his name tag.
Yeah, it's either the dreaded or the beautiful. I always forget.
Well, in this one's it's dreaded because I'm not redoing this background again. Yeah, right, this is a background image I got off Pexels, which is a website which has a lot of, basically public domain images you can use.
Mm.
I swear this is like one of the Chernobyl control rooms or something.
It might be public domain now.
Yeah, quite possibly. But yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, all right. Just enjoying the long weekend that comes with Easter. I'm not particularly religious, which I don't want to get political or anything with anybody.
Or religious?
It's just or religious, exactly. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy the time off that we get. So,
Be
about
honest,
yourself?
that's the only thing I really get from it. I mean, fuck me, my diet's been pretty shit this weekend. A lot of chocolate,
Yeah,
which
same.
I don't really have that much of a sweet tooth, but like at the same time, it's easy to indulge. And I don't know what it is, but like chocolate in egg form seems to taste better.
It oddly does, yeah.
Now, I
It's
thought that
weird.
was a psychological thing, but I mentioned this to my partner, and they did. I think they said they actually put more oil in or something to actually help mold it, so that might be why. Like,
That makes sense anyway. That's cool.
it's a bit like how restaurant food tends to taste a lot better than homemade food. It's usually because they put in a fuckload of butter
Yeah.
into nearly everything.
Or curly fries the way they oddly taste better than normal fries.
Hmm.
It's something to do with the extra fat and things they use.
Yeah, but yeah, had quite a bit of chocolate. If that was my only downfall, that would be bad enough. But no, for some reason, I got back into cheese and crackers and had almost like a solid fucking 3 days of eating cheese and crackers and meats and everything that would give you gout. Basically, the only
You're
thing I
becoming
didn't have
Henry
was
VIII.
port. Yeah,
You should get port. It's nice. It goes with cheese and ham.
God. I do like port, mind. It's been a
Yeah.
long time since I had it. Probably like 2 Christmases ago.
Mm. Yeah, port and sherry, which isn't just for cooking.
Mm.
If you disagree, you're wrong. No,
Nah.
each their own.
Oh, I'm trying out this new mic as well because I noticed when I was going over the audio of last week, my sound just seemed a bit off. I don't know, like the quality wasn't great, so I thought I'd invest in a new mic. So
It's trial and error though, isn't it? We have just come back and new technologies exist, so
yeah, I swear it used to sound better. It might also just be getting like old.
yeah.
I was gonna set up another camera as well, like instead of being facing straight on, I was gonna set up my actual video camera and just link it in directly. But I loaned my tripod to someone, and I haven't got it back, so
It's not me, is it?
I've kind of got it like weirdly balanced in the corner, but then I figured it wasn't working, so webcam it is.
Yeah, fair enough. um,
No, pretty fucking nice weather as well for a change. Not that I've really been out in it today.
we sat in the garden for a little bit earlier today because yesterday we were out because we're allowed visitors, but you're not allowed in like next to each other, or they're not allowed in your house. So we sat in the front garden with people. So it was nice to see someone for the first time in well, since Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
Well, before Christmas, just before the ban. We're in the UK, so if you're listening from abroad, your rules might have been a bit different than ours. But I imagine for yourselves, if you're adhering anyway, it's still quite a long time since you've seen people.
Yeah, not to go down the whole conspiracy rabbit hole, but I swear, like as the days get on, I'm starting to think like the response was just more and more overblown.
Yeah, I think the handling,
Well, the
and
handling, let's say, yeah.
the actual, yeah, there's a lot I think could be unravelled.
But at the same time, it's kind of easy to blame the government when they're kind of faced with an unprecedented thing. I'm not a fan of the government at all, but if you had someone else in charge, I don't know if it necessarily would have been any different.
oh no, I wouldn't want that job.
Mm.
No, I didn't like. Again, if you're from the UK, you know, well, you might know who we're talking about anyway. But I didn't like Theresa May at all.
No.
But it wasn't for the whole Brexit thing, which, again, I'm not going to go into any opinion on that. But they were giving her a lot of shit for it, and they forget it was David Cameron who actually set that up.
Yeah, and
She was just dealing with it.
and some people, especially younger people, the people I don't like usually, seem to be in this have this odd opinion that the Tories wanted Brexit to happen, whereas they absolutely didn't. Like none of the establishment wanted it to happen. You can
Yeah.
blame them for allowing it to happen because they allowed the public to vote, in which you can tell they never for 1 second thought it was going to swing the way it did. But
Yeah. But with Theresa May, the reason I didn't like her was her homophobia. So there are valid reasons for disliking her. Brexit's not one of them.
yeah.
Put blame where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, unlike some people, Brexit was fucking nearly 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Can we move on? Like, I know we've still got some people who are like, what do they call themselves now? Rejoiners, who want to say, oh, let's rejoin the EU.
It would go against the vote. You can't, I'm afraid. Yeah.
Let's just get on with things.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But that's not the world we live in, apparently.
God, before I get any, while we're on the subject of like absolute stupidity, don't know about you, but my estimation of humankind just goes down day by day, especially when it comes to intelligence and how much I trust people to run things themselves.
There's a lot of times I'll talk to people and they'll say, "Oh, have you seen this in the news?" No, I don't. I don't try to keep up with the news. I don't want to, because it's just for that reason exactly.
It's not the news, but I did notice something on Twitter, which I'll bring up on screen though you won't be able to see it yourself. Yeah, this got me fucking wondering. The trending topic was seasoning cubes. I don't know if you know why.
No.
There was a tweet by this Silas Joy MD, a doctor, I'm assuming. Stop pumping seasoning cubes in your anus to widen your buttocks. It is not safe. Women inject these cubes with the hope that the salt and oil content will expand their tissues behind, making them appear larger and rounder. It can lead to hypertension. This is why. A thread.
Oh.
Now, I'm not going to read the thread because it is quite long, and despite my lack of faith in general humanity, I have some faith that if you're listening to this, you can probably work out why that isn't such a good idea. Anyway, to stick, kind of anything like that, especially food stuff, into your rectum.
Yeah.
But, yeah, among other things, salt, hypertension, concerning things. Anyway, this is a random...
Bacteria, I mean.
Anyway, we're so close to April the 1st, I don't really trust what's on Twitter anyway, because again, the world's full of idiots. But, especially around April the 1st, I just had a look through, what was trending, what was going on, and just chose not to believe anything. So I thought this might have been an April Fool's thing as well, the doctor making this comment. No, no.
It's real.
It's a real fucking thing.
That's concerning.
Apparently it's something that's been going on in the Congo. And this isn't even a recent thing, because when I looked at the video he linked, it was from a Vice News video. Now, I fucking hate Vice News. One thing, they do a lot of clickbait stuff. They're very political, and they seem to be a bit of a mouthpiece for just absolute degenerates sometimes. But I had a quick watch of this video, and yeah, this is kind of where it was happening, because the aesthetic is for larger, rounder butts and thick thighs, so people were just putting in stock essentially and seasoning into their buttocks to expand them. Now, this is what gets me with homeopathy and other more established bullshit is. Where does the idea even come about that this would work? What property does fucking stock cubes have that would cause an expansion in your buttocks?
Or someone to hear that and think, "Ooh, I'm going to try that out."
Yeah, and which is funny because one of the top comments on his little thread here is, "Please delete this before someone tries it. We all had no idea until your post." Not meaning to sound like mean or cruel, but I am. But if you have watched this warning from an MD saying "Don't do this," and your thought is, "Oh, let's try this," you fucking deserve what you're gonna get.
Yeah, that's kind of on you at that point.
Yeah, but fuck me.
God, if you're a fan of the Johnny Come Lately earlier show as well, I do remember we touched upon those people who are bleaching their buttholes by sitting in the sun with their
Oh,
chocolate starfish pointed towards it.
fucking hell. Yeah, I forgot we even touched on that.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you might be watching this on the new Johnny Come Lately's podcast channel, which I've just started just to kind of keep things a bit separate. I will be uploading those old ones to this channel as well. So if you want to hear about bleached buttholes, stay tuned, I guess.
Look back to the prequels.
So yeah, that was just one piece of idiocy. Because I don't know about you, but I'm a bit of a bitch where I do go on Twitter like nearly every day.
I hardly use it. So I should. I know I really should, but
I don't use it as in I don't post things, but I do use it just to sort of see what's going on in the world. And usually it's absolutely dumb bullshit like this, or whatever the fucking new outrage is, and who's getting cancelled next. That kind of shite.
I don't like the cancel culture people call it. I guess very much. We've touched upon. We've never actually done an episode, I've noticed, on it because we always say we will, but it's such a vast thing that we could do a series on it. But censorship.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned censorship and talked about it a few times, and it's kind of linked to that.
Yeah.
And of course, recently there was the
freedom of speech, like as well.
Recently there was the whole, well, certain episodes of certain shows getting taken off and all that jazz.
I'm sure there's more than just the ones I was, because you're making reference to something that I mentioned there.
Yeah.
To yourself. I'm sure there's more than just that one. The show I'm talking about, might as well name it. The one I've been recently rewatching was Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I'm sure, because I feel like I've been going through the series a lot faster this time round, and I only watch it when I'm like cooking something in the background, something I'm familiar with. And I think I'm on like series 7. I only started a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think so. I don't know if I want to go into why it was cut.
No, by all means.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like because the first time I noticed this is Netflix specifically. There was an episode of Community that was cut, and which is unfortunate because for both it's the same reason of Community and for Sunny. They're great episodes as well, and there's just something in them where I think because the one I'm referring to for Community was the Dungeons and Dragons episode, the first one.
The first one, yeah.
And with Fat Neil. So I'm guessing to a degree it might have been because he was thinking about suicide, maybe, but the exact reason why it 100% would have been taken down was because is it Senior Chang, the character of Senior Chang? He turns up as a black elf and has painted himself black, but like a matte black though, like it's completely dark. In no way, I don't even think that one was a racial joke, to be honest with you.
It was. No, it was. But that's the point. It's the same with the Always Sunny, the same with the Sarah Silverman show. The point is, you shouldn't have done that. That's outrageous and really bad.
Yeah.
That's the fucking joke. You're not saying, "Oh, this is good."
Yeah. Well, look at the Sunny one I'm making reference to is the one where Dee gets a job working in the school as an acting coach, and she takes the kids. It's a two-parter. Takes the kids into the bar to watch them do their Lethal Weapon. And obviously, the whole point of that was Mac and Dennis, the characters. If you've not seen it, it's an amazing show.
Best comedy.
We're talking, and of recent times, and 4 episodes like this, where Dennis even points out that because if you know Lethal Weapon, obviously one of the characters in it is black, and they're not, both of them, and one of them wanted to play it as a black man. but they've got the first part of the two-parter up, but not the second part, which has the Lethal Weapon 5 in it, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it just take both down if you're going to. Well, just don't take them down.
No,
Is
like,
the top bottom.
bear in mind, if you haven't seen these shows and you haven't quite got what we were saying, like, these are both, and if we're including Sarah Silverman, these are like all white, well, one's Asian, but like, you know, two white people and an Asian person doing blackface and comedy show. But it's not mockery of, like, they're not pretending to be black people for the purpose of comedy. It's the comedy comes from the fact that what they're doing is really bad. They shouldn't be doing it, and it's the fact that they think it's acceptable, which is the fucking joke. And people seem to forget, like, a big aspect of humor is, like, shock.
Yeah.
And outrage.
Yeah. Which, I'll be honest, is all Family Guy is now. It's just to be as shocking as absolutely possible, and they can get away with it for some reason.
I have not seen it in years.
Yeah, they're probably not worth it, to be honest with you. But I think it's more a mockery of that type of white person, to be honest with you.
No, it is. Absolutely.
And then to take it down, just to me, just you don't get the joke, man. Clearly, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
If you know the tone of all three of those shows we've mentioned, you expect something like that. And the point is, we're not watching it thinking, "Oh yeah, go on, dress up like that." You're not. You think, "What an idiot!" Like,
I'm not.
Alf Garnett.
I'm not gonna watch the show and then go and do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Though
in fact, if you thought about it, watching those shows would deter you even.
Though unfortunately, I have seen it in real life.
Oh, really?
Well, I used to live like quite deep in the countryside, and this probably isn't an excuse because, you know, they're just as part of the modern world as everyone else. But it was this little charity run that would go on between like two villages, which had a few miles between them, which is fine. People were dressing in costumes and that to do this little run for charity, whatever, like a local tradition thing on a specific day. I forget what day it is, but I just remember being on the bus one time, passing the crowds of people. And I saw someone in an Apollo Creed costume.
Oh.
Wasn't a black fellow though he sure as hell put on the makeup for it.
Ooh. Well, Robert Downey Jr. managed to get away with it for Tropic Thunder.
Again, the context is that's the joke though. That's the context matters.
For some reason, he can get away with it though, and Tropic Thunder isn't slated and isn't.
No, he is slated. It's, it actually
Is
comes
he actually?
up. It comes up very often in social media, especially Twitter. Like some fucking 15-year-old who thinks they know how the world works and knows how it should be will come across Tropic Thunder and think they're the first one to discover it and go, "Let's cancel Robert Downey Jr."
Because you know times don't change. For a start, I mean. You shouldn't cancel anything like that. I mean, Tropic Thunder looked like a pile of shite anyway. I've not seen it.
I've not even seen it. I'd be willing to give it a chance. I just haven't seen it because I'm not like a particular fan of Jack Black. And I know that'll get me crucified from some people I know.
He's okay. He's just a bit over the top.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of his most recent videos. He likes to do a lot of home videos. I'm a bit worried for him. I think the behavior he displays isn't normal, if you know what I mean. Like,
I wouldn't know.
I'm starting to wonder if he's a bit. Is he? Someone needs to check on Jack Black. Is what I'm saying. If anyone knows, make sure he's all right.
Well, since I am on Twitter, let's start the hashtag check on Jack Black. No, I'm just gonna do that.
Let's check on Black Jack.
Black Jack, yeah, Jack Black.
Jack Black.
God, speaking of card games, it come up in some shows I was watching recently. I fucking miss playing poker.
Yeah, so do I.
And I've got friends who play it online, but I don't know. There's something about the tactile sensation, which
you can't read people in the same way, I guess.
Yeah, it's like chess. Like I've got like online chess apps, which you just do through a screen, like to play chess against like an AI opponent or a human one if you want to. It's not the same as having like just the actual board and being able to touch the board and move things.
Especially the way I play chess, which is to actually put off the opponent.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually very good at chess anyway. But when I remember there was a cafe we used to frequent, just to go on another tangent, might as well, we're here now. and we were trying to set up because you could play board games, you could play all sorts of things on it, and they wanted to do a chess day. It was on a Wednesday, so I thought, oh, I'm very good at chess. I used to compete. I never won. I'm not that good. And I sat there with my little chessboard, and apparently a grandmaster from a university that's local, I can't remember which one, sat down in front of me. I didn't know he was grandmaster until afterwards, and said, "Oh, yeah, this is the chess club." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll give you a game if you want. Set up." I made my first move, and he named it. At that point, I knew I was in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
He can name it, but I beat him, and it wasn't because I'm more skillful. It was because I kept calling the knight a horsey, which annoyed him. The rook a castle, and the pawns a prawn.
So you were basically doing a basketball psych.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and you could see it though. He was sweating by the end of it. It was like he was bubbling and making. I think I've got you in check there. No, oh, if I move my horsey over here though, are you in checkmate? Are you? And I'll keep asking. So are you in checkmate? Yeah. You wouldn't play me again.
You said he named like a move on like your first play. You did that with me.
Yeah.
Fucking
Well,
years ago. I remember you said, "Oh, the Vant."
Yeah.
Yay.
I know it. After that, he named it, so I just remembered it. I thought, okay. No, you beat me though. There's only been 3 people who have ever beat me, and you're one of them.
I think I may have beat you twice. One of them was fucking years ago, and the other time was just probably the last month or so.
Yeah,
Couple of
yeah.
months.
Just when you were saying they're playing online, it's not quite the same, but
No.
we sometimes, while we're at work on our pedestrian, or as I say, earth jobs, as we used to say. That feels like a whole age ago now. But we sometimes play chess and send pictures of the chessboard to each other, which is kind of fun. But I miss playing in front of your beautiful face.
Yee.
Mm.
God, it's like poker though. Like I haven't even bothered playing that online. Like some of my friends do when they gamble like real money, and
Yeah.
that sounds like a weird old fuddy duddy. I don't fancy just gambling money in a virtual game like that.
No, not in a virtual game.
I don't mind gambling like small amounts in real life.
Yeah.
I stress small amounts, but
To be honest, I think I've played poker games, and the max pot I'll ever really bet is I'll never go over a tenner. And most of the time, if I've won, if I've won other people's £10, I'll take people out for a drink with that money.
yeah.
So it's money they would have spent on the drink anyway. Like I'm not doing it for the money.
Like my preferred way to kind of gamble on poker anyway, it isn't so much to have like chips represent monetary value, it's just to kind of have a pot and then like play by, the final winner who gets the pot. That's kind of how I prefer anyway.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I play Texas Hold'em poker though. I'm not sure. Are you 5 card?
Oh yeah, I Texas Hold'em.
Oh, fair.
I actually don't know how to play the original poker game because I did look at the rules once, but like I already played Texas Hold'em by that point, and I just kind of preferred it.
It's probably the better of the two, in my opinion. Obviously,
Yeah.
other forms are in existence, and if you disagree, let us know.
I need to learn how to say poker in German, just to add to the. I already know how to say chess in German, so I.
What's chess in German?
Ich spiele Schach. I play chess.
That's pretty cool. What part of that is the word chess?
Schach.
Shah. Nice.
Pronunciation's probably a bit off because I only just started learning it. One of the things I decided to take up at the very beginning of lockdown was German lessons online.
Yeah, that's commendable.
Well,
Very
I
nice.
say lessons, it's Duolingo, but still, you kind of learn a little bit.
That's awesome. I remember doing Spanish at school.
I remember pretending to do Spanish in school when really I was doing other shit.
That sounds ominous.
Oh god, my partner really hates this story, and she was outraged when I told her it. But in GCSE Spanish, I never did any work in it. I wasn't interested. I took it A because it was considered the easy language out of the 3, like Spanish, French, and German. I just had no interest to do work, and it's just because you had to take it. So I would sit in class, I would ignore people, I would doodle, I would I would learn I wasn't learning Spanish. I was doing like Egyptian hieroglyphs because that was a thing for a while. And
That's kind of badass.
yeah, in our I was in like one of the lower tier classes, of course, which means it was full of shitheads, full of like loud, obnoxious pricks.
Mm.
One of our tutors, I think, had like a mental breakdown or something. There was probably other shit going on in their life, but I just remember on a class, it's typical, people are shouting, throwing shit around, and she was just kind of sitting there in silence, and then like without saying a word, like got up, walked away. We never saw her again. I don't know what the hell happened.
There were no survivors. I hope she's all right, actually.
Yeah, me
She's
too.
being a
But
bitch.
yeah, my GCSE story, which is the one my girlfriend really hates. We do our GCSEs. We'll go to our written exam. I don't even remember if I wrote anything. I might have doodled something. And then we'll got our oral exam. Sat down. Teacher started the recorder. And the first thing I said was, I don't really know anything. Can I go now? And that was my entrance into the oral exam.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, shockingly, I got a U ungraded.
Oh, fair enough. At least it was ungraded. You didn't get it. No,
God, I feel really, I feel kind of guilty about that now, but just more for wasting people's time, and maybe I should have
Maybe.
applied myself, but I just wasn't fucking interested as a kid.
Yeah. I remember at college, which is where we met,
Mhm.
we had to do general studies, and I ended up getting it was an English A level, which means you didn't need to do the second year. So I knew that already. So
Yeah.
the first year I just didn't really care about. And in the exam at the time, George Bush was president. I just didn't even read the questions. I was just writing George Bush did it. I think on one of them that was exactly what it was. So that was the best exam I've ever had in my life because there was no pressure. I was just sat there with at the time I just got the Christopher Eccleston sonic screwdriver pen, which is collectible as fuck right now. And I'm using that in the exam. And I saw the people, the adjudicators walking down. One of them did a double take. He must have been a Doctor Who fan or something. That was class. That was the UV one. So you had the other nib that would.
Oh shit! I remember that. It was like invisible ink.
Yeah, it was class, and you could use the sonic screwdriver to shine it on. I didn't use that nib. I just used the normal one. But I've got it somewhere, and I remember throwing the box out like an idiot, but they go for about 40, 50 quid now.
What I would love is if one of the questions on the paper was, how did 9/11 happen? You put George Bush did it. And then the guy who was marking it was like a massive conspiracy theorist. He's like, you know what? This guy gets it. Like, stamp of approval, like A star.
I think I passed. Not the exam. I failed the exam, but
Yeah.
because just going to the classes in general studies was enough to get like a passing grade, which was ridiculous. It was such a waste of time as well. I remember being an absolute arsehole during those questions. I wasn't disruptive. I just didn't care. Outwardly didn't care. And when they tried to involve me because they could see it, that was when I was a bit of an arsehole as well. And I feel a bit guilty about that, but not much because it was funny.
Believe it or not, like from that horrible story of my conduct in Spanish in school, I actually wasn't like that either. Like, I wasn't the best student, but I was never really disruptive. I just didn't engage sometimes. Yeah. And that was the only class I did like terribly in. I didn't pass my maths, but that's just more my own fucking impediments and not being particularly mathematically gifted.
If you want to... an example of because I remember there was one of the teachers who had asked us because they started going on about religion. Even then, I didn't really care about it. It was like, give an example of a belief. So of course I was being a smart ass and I said, I think parsley, and it took them ages. I think they eventually got it. No, what was it? Give an example of a belief. That was it. And I said, it's a herb, isn't it? Not parsley. Yeah, and it took them ages to get it. They did eventually, and nobody was laughing apart from me. But yeah, study hard, kids, at school. You can be popular podcasters like us.
Yeah, not sound like an old man, which I'm kind of becoming, but no, seriously, if you're in school, you should study hard. I mean, I know it really fucking sucks, but I really should have done that when I was younger in some areas, and I didn't, and you pay the price for it.
Yeah.
Not that, studying really well, getting the top grades is necessarily going to work out for you, but I'd say it gives you more options. So,
Well, I did. I got for my GCSEs, I got a lot of A stars.
mm,
College got a lot of A's. Uni got a first. Still here, still just work in an office. Do you know what I mean? It's somehow sometimes just the hand you dealt with.
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
not bad. I'm actually quite well off now, which isn't like I'm not boasting, but I feel like had I not studied though, like properly, there's no way even I would have gotten to this point. Like you were saying, you are putting yourself down a little bit there. If you don't mind me speaking out of turn, you're a clever lad. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't be where you are now if you weren't. So
undisciplined though, and lazy, especially when I was in education.
yeah, no, I am as well. To be fair, I remember my first year. This last tangent, my God, first year of uni, I didn't go to any lessons because it was all coursework, and I did media, and I wrote a script which I had already handed in and got my mark for, so I didn't go to any of the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got the distinction for it, I got up on stage to get it. I actually heard people in my class go, "Who's that?"
Wow.
Ah, no.
Well, I didn't. I mean, I went into higher. Well, I went into college, and with the idea of going to higher education, though I never finished it. But that was a whole
Wish I
other
hadn't.
thing.
Yeah, nothing but debt.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I probably should have finished college at least, and like maybe gotten some A levels, but I'm not going to go into the story right now because it's a pretty long, dumb one. But let's just say it involved a sense of alienation, like a bit of a loss of where I am in life, and a fake pregnancy. So, yeah, maybe
so
another
a
time
lot
for that
going on.
story. Yeah, a lot going on.
Oh, that's life as well, though, isn't it? I suppose you've got to you cannot be prepared for that sort of thing. So
Yeah, and from then, like I kind of just went straight into employment, and I've been employed either part time but mostly full time ever since in various different roles. And
that's good, though. You're an active member of society, at least. That means you're
yeah,
contributing.
to be honest, as much as I kind of dislike my current job at times, which I'm not going to say what it is, I'm still kind of lucky to have it because it's also one of the few industries that's kind of survived what's fucking happened in the past year.
Yeah, true. I could not have stood being furloughed.
Mm.
I would have gone mad. I would have been so bored. I could survive on 80%, I think it is, of the wage
Yeah.
comfortably, but I've been unemployed before, and I think the longest I was unemployed was about 6 months during college, in between college and uni even.
Mm-hmm.
I've never wanted to die so much in my life. It was
I've
horrible.
I think I've potentially been unemployed longer than that, but probably with the smattering of like temporary or like really part-time jobs in between every so often. But no, I don't recommend unemployment. And honestly, not to be again old man preacher, you really do kind of need a purpose, and you do need to have like a reason in life. And it doesn't even
Just
have
to wake up, like
yeah, it doesn't even have to be like a career thing. Just have something that you're living for and something that you're doing.
absolutely. Like I noticed there was a time after the first few months,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even get dressed in the morning, and that's pathetic. Like even now during this current global situation,
Yeah.
I'll make a bit of an effort. I'm a bit scruffy, but I'm not going out. You know what I mean? I get dressed, I iron my shirts,
Mm-hmm.
I shower. I recently shaved. I used to have a beard until very recently.
I shaved yesterday or the day before because this was all fuzz, and I was getting the fucking head fuzz, which, since I'm balding, is not a good thing, which is why it's always shaved.
Oh, mine's no. That's one thing I'm looking forward to. The thing I'm missing the most, to change the subject slightly,
Yeah, yeah.
thing I'm missing the most after this global situation is cinemas. For a
Yes.
start, that's the main
If
thing.
they survive, which is a big fucking question for a lot of them.
I really hope so, to be honest with you, because Godzilla vs Kong's come out now. Apparently, I only found out yesterday.
Yeah, some people who I follow have seen it and given their opinions.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a shame because that sort of thing needs to be seen
Mm-hmm.
on a larger screen, and that will never be seen on a large screen now because it's already out.
Yeah.
So I might end up having to watch that because I'm a big Godzilla fan. If you all didn't know, Um, but I hope cinemas reopen for Halloween because the new Halloween's coming out this year, or scheduled to anyway. But yes, the original point was the first thing I'm going to do is get a haircut. Like I look like a hobo. I was tempted to shave it all off, but I'd be terrified that it would never come back.
You don't look too bad. Might have noticed if you're on like one of the other channels, I recently done like a little trailer to go onto the Johnny Come Lately's channel from my old one, and all I had was like some really old footage we took from like years ago. And you had wild hair back then, and I think we were both a lot fatter.
Yeah, yeah, we've done well actually. It's something that we've earned the right to be proud of.
Yeah, not this past week, mind. I've probably put on
No, same.
pounds of anything. It's easy to say, oh, I'll go on the diet tomorrow, but no, I genuinely will. It's like once fucking Easter's done and I devour the chocolate egg my partner got me, then back
Nice
on the
and
strict
low.
eating.
Yeah, we've got birthdays as well in the household for both of us actually. So
Yeah.
I made that I sent you that picture of that cake I made, and I swear to God, one slice of that was enough to make me lose my foot to diabetes. God.
I made cake for like my partner's birthday last month, and it took a while to even get around to it because it was also a
Oh.
chocolate cake, but it was also fucking covered in like fondant icing.
Mm.
So it was like,
I'm not a sweet fan, and it's nice, but
yeah. No, typically not. Like I'd much rather have the cheese and crackers I've had recently than like a ton of chocolate, though I have been eating more chocolate than usual.
Fair. No, but again, Easter though, you kind of feel like you almost have to, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Does your this might sound a bit funny. Does your family do like Easter gifts and things?
We end up doing that. When I was a kid,
Hmm.
I remember even getting excited for Easter eggs. And then when I hit about 12, I think we just started getting each other like small gifts. But my birthday is around Easter usually.
Yeah, fair enough.
So kind of just didn't bother.
No, it's like I find it odd because I don't think it's as universal as say Christmas is, even in the UK. Because like both halves of my family, like my father's side and mother's sides, kind of have like bit of different attitudes. Like mother's side typically won't bother. Like when you're young, sure you might get an Easter egg or something, or like maybe a few quid, like a £5 note or something in a card. But that's it. Whereas like my father's side, they do tend to like do like Christmas gifts and things, or like send more substantial amounts of money. I don't know if it's a religious thing because they are slightly different on that end than like my
Fair.
mother's side, and I don't know. I find it weird. It's like Easter as a holiday means nothing to me. I mean, even Christmas in like a spiritual sense doesn't mean anything to me either. But I can see why like secular people partake in it.
I get caught up in Christmas a little bit.
Yeah,
If you've listened to our earlier shows, we've kind of ragged on it a bit. But if I'm honest with you, in my older age now, I've kind of mellowed on it a bit.
there's a
The
lot
one thing
of
I hate is just the way people go on about it
Yeah.
before Halloween.
there's a lot of nostalgia for Christmas as well, which I do like, and
Yeah.
even with like restrictions, I did manage to see family this year. Even though the government had some fucking ludicrous rules, like
I think they're being confusing on purpose, to be honest with you.
maybe. No, that was nice, but yeah, Easter, I've got nothing, no idea. Like I don't know why people still necessarily do it if you're not like that religious, or I guess if you're a big chocolate fan, maybe it's a thing. And you know, I'll enjoy this egg later, but it's about it. I haven't sent anyone cards. I have previous years, but it's just such a non-thing for me.
Can I offer you this egg in this trying times? That's all I can think of.
I'm thinking that now.
Um,
I was, we mentioned Always Sunny earlier. I do think it's probably one of the best sitcoms, if not the best, to be honest. If I had just had to pick one, like Desert Island sitcom, like straight away, I'll go with Always Sunny. I've heard a lot of people, like, of a similar age to me, but more in the United States. Like, a lot of people's favorite sitcom seems to be Seinfeld.
I've never seen it.
I'd never seen it until recently. I think I'm like maybe in the third or fourth season of it when I've been watching it.
How was it?
Okay, like honestly, it's fine. I don't know if maybe I just missed the boat, and a lot of people's
Could be.
appreciation of it is kind of nostalgia.
Because you've got to also remember what else was out at the time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's pretty good. It's kind of a nice thing to have on the background sometimes. And there's moments which I find are kind of funny, but if we're talking like quality of comedy and quality of show, I Always Sunny is just far superior, if you ask me.
Yeah. I think if I had to pick a desert island sitcom, it would probably be Fawlty Towers.
Mm.
But obviously Sunny goes on a lot longer. It never dips. It does dip a
It
little
does.
bit at one point.
There's like one season which is full of more misses than hits, but then weirdly the season after it like picks up again.
Yeah. And that's fine. That just means they were trying something different. I think one of the actors had another role.
Yeah, he was. From what I remember, he was filming another show, which I don't think lasted too long, which is probably why he's back more full time the following season.
No, that's fair enough.
But
it's probably the most popular thing he does, so
yeah,
might as well stick with it.
And he's probably one of the writers and producers as well, so like his absence probably affects more than just his character.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know how long it's got left, and I kind of hope it doesn't continue much longer, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think they are filming another season, but be honest, if the last one they finished with the last episode being at like the laser tag, honestly, if that was the last episode, I'd have been fine.
Yeah, I would have honestly been fine 2 seasons ago, even as well, where it was Dennis leaving to be a dad. It shows a nice arc, like he's finally grown up a little bit.
It was a weird natural end to like the show.
Yeah, I dug that a bit, but again, I'm glad they're still doing it though. To be fair, and as long as it doesn't dip too much, I don't mind. They can keep going as long as they want. I used to watch when you were saying about Seinfeld. There is it Larry David is one of the producers.
Yes, he is, because after that he did Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I've seen a few of them. They seem a lot better, but again, with what we were saying before, they seem to take a bit more risk or have a bit more shock involved.
Mm-hmm.
And he himself's quite funny, to be honest with you. So
I've been curious to try that one.
It's all right. It was one of the ones I've mentioned him before, Gareth.
Yeah,
one of my older friends really enjoyed.
I've never seen it, but I watched a documentary on Netflix not too long ago, which it was somewhat related to in a weird way. Oh fuck, what was it? I'll bring it up on screen if I like find it. But the premise of the documentary was a man who was like falsely arrested for like a murder. His alibi, spoiler alert, was that he was at this baseball game at the time, which basically proved he wasn't there at the time of the murder. And like they couldn't prove it because there was no clear like footage of the game aiming at him. But what they did find was during the course of that game, they were filming an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and there's a bit from the footage that they took for the show where he is right in fucking frame.
Oh no!
And that's what they used to help get him like as his defense to like get him off from the charge.
Jeez.
It wasn't the whole case was built around it, but that was one of the main things that like helped prove his innocence.
That would definitely help.
But that was like insane, like coincidence.
Yeah, God, could you imagine? I mean, I've only seen a few series. One of the ones I watched was because they have sort of arcs.
Still going now, actually, from what I heard.
That's it. God damn, that's insane. One of the ones I saw was the entire series is based on Larry David's going to be working on a play with Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
and Mel Brooks is in it, and it's class. But he's honestly, I find him one of the most funny people to have ever existed. He's got some misses as well, like in my opinion, this is unpopular. Spaceballs.
I like it, but
it's fine. And Robin Hood Men in Tights, I don't care. It's okay, but he's got some home runs like entirely with likes of Young Frankenstein and
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles, which I don't think will ever be screened on television ever again.
Probably not. I think I should probably buy it, to be honest, because I'm afraid that's also one of those media things that might just conveniently disappear when someone decides it's too fucking risky.
Honestly, I think it might as well. And I think if he wasn't so like deprecating of his own religion as well, because obviously he's very clearly Jewish and makes a lot of jokes like that as well, it would have already been gone.
Yeah.
But one of the funniest films, I don't know if you've ever seen the entire thing is just a huge parody of everything Hitchcock ever did, which is High Anxiety.
No, I haven't.
It's the funniest, honestly. It's my favorite Mel
Oops.
Brooks. Like it's hilarious.
Sorry, I just tinged my microphone there with my tea.
No, fair. But no, that's something I wouldn't mind going through. Actually, that's one thing to sort of put a little bit more on track.
Mm-hmm.
We were thinking of what else we can like talk about for you all to listen to. And for some reason, last week I think I was watching Austin Powers. That might be why.
Really?
Yeah. And then that episode of American Dad came on, Tearjerker, and I just thought, it's probably time. It's probably time that I watch the James Bond films.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a while back you were interested in going through them to get like a first time reaction from me. You've seen all of
Yeah,
them?
I actually ended up buying them all on DVD for that purpose, and it just never happens.
Yeah, I might end up buying them as well, then just to have, I suppose. Can't imagine they're expensive now.
Probably not.
But look, honestly, there's no reason why I haven't seen them. It's just probably because there's so many. I'm going to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Which I did find Dr. No is available online on YouTube if anyone else wants to watch it as well alongside us.
Mm-hmm.
So we might do them. But I wouldn't mind doing likes of the body of work Mel Brooks at one point as well.
That sounds good. I mean, I suppose we should probably just decide on something to watch and then like kind of go from there. I'm totally up for Bond though, because I bought all of them, with the exception of like the last one, but I have seen it and it's shite. But
yeah, I saw it as well. Yeah,
easily the worst one.
Yeah, I've not seen because Daniel Craig?
Yeah,
is the latest Bond. I've seen Casino Royale and I skipped one as well, and that's one I've not seen. It's the only one I've not seen of his. Because the next one's Skyfall after that, which I have seen.
Yeah, so you've probably skipped Quantum of Solace, which I've only seen recently myself. That's really a nothing of a film as well. Like,
that's what I've heard. Yeah,
which is weird.
I feel like it's a huge. Oh, go on.
No, I was gonna say it's weird because Casino Royale and Skyfall are actually really up there among the better Bond movies.
I loved Skyfall, and I feel like of all the actors they had Mads Mikkelsen, the guy who plays Silver in Skyfall, I forget his name.
Yeah, Javier Bardem, I think.
Yeah, incredible actor as well. You think, right, how are you going to beat that as a villain? Is it Christoph Waltz who was in Spectre?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Great idea, yeah, because he would have made an amazing villain in a Bond film. He didn't. Don't know why. I just honestly I don't think he should have been Blofeld.
No, they did. They did the thing that they did with the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, where they did like. All right, well you're back now. Some technical issues.
Yeah, those friggin' gremlins, as they say.
Yeah. Before you went off, I was just saying there was kind of a weird comparison with Christoph Waltz playing Blofeld. Is like Benedict Cumberbatch played Khan in that fucking Star Trek 2 film, in which they kind of denied that was the characters they're going to be playing, and then when it actually came, where it's like, oh yeah, they are. And not that it would have made either movie any better, but at least if they were playing different characters, at least they wouldn't be tarnishing the legacy of the pre-existing ones.
Absolutely, especially with I remember going to see that with yourself. I don't think we were dressed up on that one. It was the first one we went dressed up as the crew.
No, because I felt like such a dickhead, like being dressed up on that first Star Trek movie to see it. That there's no way in fucking hell I was going to see the second one.
But I always remember your reaction to oh, Scott. No, who is it? It's not Kirk. It's oh my god, I don't even know. Leonard Nimoy played him.
Oh, Spock.
When Spock says Khan instead, it was just like, oh, okay, we're doing that, are we? When he screams it at the top of his awful lungs as well, because I like that actor as well, especially in the likes of Heroes, that he was in. Fuck man, he was a decent Spock as well. It was just that itself was so cringy like the entire time. And Cumberbatch, good actor, but he's not Khan.
No.
As you were saying there, just like Christoph Waltz, great villain. He's not Blofeld.
They really didn't have to do like a Blofeld again, because one of the things about the Bond series, which I think I was explaining to you, but you're probably aware of already, is although there's been like 20 odd of them, it's kind of fluid continuity wise. Like sometimes they reference previous events, but not often. Most of the films are just really self-contained. So
Yeah.
you honestly don't have to have like this ongoing arc thing between the movies.
You could watch them in any order, pretty much,
Un-
unless it's a Pierce Brosnan one. For example, because I know he did more than one, so I imagine there's a bit of continuity between.
Honestly,
specific
not really.
Bond. Oh, really?
No,
Oh, that's
the
cool.
only ones which really do seem to like keep a hold on like continuity as much is the Craig ones.
Oh, fair enough. And I think he's fine. I remember the massive amount of criticism he got when he got named as Bond, and the massive amount of criticism with the decision they've made now to make the 007 agent a black woman.
Yeah.
Maybe say it out. It's not James Bond, hasn't changed. That's fine. It's just somebody else is now the role.
I think
I didn't like what they did with Doctor Who. That just didn't make sense. But with somebody like 007, that's a code name.
Yeah.
I get that. That's fine.
Well, I don't think it's fine, but
I've not seen the films either, though. So
no. I mean, to be fair, like I think it's Lashana Lynch. She isn't playing James Bond. She's playing another agent who gets the 007 moniker, and James Bond is still going to be in the movie. I think it's just concern for what the setup's going to be, and like how much fucking identity politics they're going to be shoving in it, and if they're going to like just make her like the main focus from then on. I think that's what people's concerns are.
Yeah. If it's just going to be films about, I don't know, attacking men, then that's dull. I mentioned to yourself I went to see the recent, because one of my favorite horror films is Black Christmas, and it's been remade twice now. And the second one, the villain in it, spoiler alert, I don't mind spoiling this piece of shit, is men.
Just men.
Legitimately, yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's I couldn't believe it. It was so bad. Oh, the 2009 remake was tour de force in comparison. This was just tour de farce.
And I haven't seen any version of the movie yet, although you keep telling me to watch the original.
The original is really good, and it's one of the few films that legitimately unnerved me when I was a bit younger as well. But I did have a cellar, a loft in the same sort of way as well. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But we won't go into that either. We're talking about James Bond, because I'd love to watch them from the beginning. They look like my sort of thing, and they've got a huge array of. You might as well be listing off my favorite actors: Christopher Lee, Donald Pleasance. I'm in. I'm done. I'm sold.
I mean, it's probably not a spoiler to you. Donald Pleasance played Blofeld.
Yeah.
The best one.
He is the iconic image as well. Was there another Blofeld?
There's been a few people have played Blofeld. For the first few times the character appears, he's always in shadow, so it's mainly been the voice. And then when you first see him kind of full on screen, it's Donald Pleasance.
Nice.
Then he's what's his name? Terry Savalas.
Oh, Kojak.
Yes. And then it's played by someone else, and I fucking forget the actor's name. But there is, believe it or not, there is actually an explanation of why it's a different actor. Like, it is established that plastic surgery and alterations are a thing in the universe.
Fair enough, yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't explain, like, necessarily the voice and everything, but...
yeah, and the character change, probably.
Yeah, and again, if you look at them more as self-contained movies, it makes more sense rather than, like, a continuing plot. Especially when the Bond actor himself, like, changes in between.
Exactly, and I feel like because Christoph Waltz probably could have played a really good Blofeld had they not, as you've said, lied and said, "Oh, he's not Blofeld. He's definitely not," and he is. Well, he is. And then when he says it was just like, okay, excellent.
Well, that's part of the problem. They also made up a complete ridiculous backstory because apparently they're brothers.
Oh god, yeah.
Weirdly,
Is
that
so
links
good.
into Doctor Who because that was one of the fucking plans during like the wilderness years of Doctor Who when it was cancelled in the 80s. They were thinking of
Mm.
bringing it back with the Master and the Doctor being brothers.
No, that would kill it more than it's already killed it
But
itself.
yeah. Plus, fuck, what was even the name of that film as well? Spectre. It's just a
Mm.
fucking boring film.
Oh, it is, and if I'm not mistaken, because for some reason Christopher Waltz in this scene when he's got Bond tied to a chair isn't wearing socks or shoes. It's not explained. It's a quirk that probably would have been mentioned, but it was just a bit. I don't know. It made it oddly sexual. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that aside, during that he's explaining as well the previous villains you saw. So Mads Mikkelsen's character and the most bizarre Silver
Yeah.
were all under him. I can't see that.
Well, Silver,
Especially Silver.
if you believe Silver's motivation, it's completely his own. It was
Exactly.
revenge against M.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, you'll know definitely. Silver was completely created for the movies.
Yes,
as well.
as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, he's brand new, and a great modern day twist on a villain as well, because he's very cyber terrorist, but he's also very threatening and imposing, and it helps that he's played by Javier Bardem.
Yeah. Who, if you've seen shit, what's the movie No Country for Old Men? He's fucking terrifying in that.
I love that movie. I only saw that recently, and where he just there's a beautiful scene where he's stood there talking to the guy behind the counter at a convenience store.
Yeah.
And he just flips a coin and says, "Call it," and you get this sort of sense, like you've seen The Hitcher, haven't you? The original with Rutger Hauer.
Oh god, yeah, that's a disturbing fucking film.
Yeah, it's the same sort of feeling, and they remade the Hitcher, and I remember going to see it. I think it was with Gareth again, with the guy who played Ned Stark.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. He played him, and though I think he's a good actor, he is, and he is kind of imposing in his own way. He's not quite the same as Rutger Hauer, where Javier Bardem absolutely is. He would have played it his own way for a start, which is the way. If you're going to remake something, change something.
Yeah,
that's the key. Like you've got to be good and original while having the same sort of things. You could have the thing with The Hitcher as well is because it's one of my favorite all-time films. To be honest with you, I just love it, and I'll put it on. It's a kind of feel-good movie, which is weird.
It's not necessarily the emotions I would have attached to it.
No. I honestly think it's for Rutger Hauer. I mentioned it in one of my other, because I do another podcast as well, and I listed off the five male favorite leads in horror, and Rutger Hauer was number 3 in it. It's solidly based off one movie, and it's The Hitcher, and his performance in it is sublime. He's amazing in everything he does, but he doesn't do much horror. Weirdly, you can argue Blade Runner. There's horror elements in it, and his scene specifically where he's chasing him is amazing.
Rightfully so, considered among like the best, some of the best scenes in cinema history.
Oh, Blade Runner, incredible, and the remake, and the sequel, which I know you're a fan of as well.
Big fan.
Beautiful, absolutely stunning movies. But we have gone hugely off topic here. But there's a beautiful scene with Rutger Hauer in the original Hitcher that just typifies him as an actor. He's amazing. He's talking to Jim Halsey, he's the main character in it, I think, and he offers him a gun. And he grabs it and he points it at him, and he says, "That's not loaded." And he puts his finger under the gun, under the table. Says, "But mine is." And he bangs the table, and Jim presses it, and it just clicks like 6 times. And if you watch Rutger Hauer's face in that scene, it's incredible. It's like mockery, but also sympathy at the same time. Oh my God, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And I think if anybody could pull that off, it would be Silver, the Javier Bardem. And to think, and to bring it all back here, that he was under Christoph Waltz's Blofeld.
No,
I wasn't buying it. Like that was exactly the point where it went from poor film to utter shite for me. A lot of people would disagree and say it was when he had that explosion and got the scar. But
that was like a lame fan service thing, because to tie it back to Star Trek Into Darkness, that's full of like little references to the Wrath of Khan, even though it butchers it. It was the same with that, because Donald Pleasance Blofeld had a scar on his face, so it was just again, remember this in a better movie.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, don't reference things that are going to dwarf your product.
Oh, you're popping a bit.
Oh, is that any better?
No.
Am I still a bit in and out? Am I?
It's like popping, like a bit of crackle.
Oh, that's annoying. Oh, I'm sorry, guys, for everyone listening. Maybe if I twist my mic a little bit, is that any better?
Talk a bit more.
Oh, yeah. Am I a bit
Seems to
more
be, yeah.
clear?
That seems fine.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. My laptop, I'm sure, is dying. I will get a new one soon.
Uh-oh, you're froze.
Oh no, have I?
Just a second. I'm gonna call you again.
Okay.
Hello.
Am I back?
Yeah. To be honest, I think this might be a thing I heard, which happens with OBS. Is sometimes when you've got like an incoming video feed, sometimes they can freeze.
Oh, and I rang you that time, didn't I?
Yeah.
Right.
But no, that's fine. I mean, we weren't really talking about anything in particular, but yeah, I would be totally into like revisiting Bond. I've not actually watched a Bond movie for a long time, with the exception of Quantum of Solace and Skyfall, because I only watched them fairly recently.
Yeah, same. I rewatched Skyfall again recently.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking great. I'm kind of sad I didn't see that one in the cinema, to be honest.
I did actually. It was I saw that one in Casino Royale and then Spectre, but I don't recount it.
Yeah.
All at the cinema, which was awesome.
But I've seen all the others. The only reason I watched those ones recently was because they were like the two I hadn't. And I used to, when I was a kid, I was a huge Bond fan. I'd like watched them all so many times, and it would be kind of interesting if you're watching them for me to revisit them, because I remember as a kid not liking Doctor No as much. I have a
I
feeling
hear that a lot, actually.
I have a feeling I still might not, to be honest, because I think it is kind of fairly slow and it is like a prototype film.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
No, I hear a lot of people say it doesn't hit its stride until not much later. I think the next film people seem to love.
The next one is From Russia with Love, which a lot of people hold in high regard.
Yeah.
But then the next one after that's Goldfinger, which is like considered the best a lot of the time.
Is that Goldfinger? Is that Christopher Lee?
Nope. That's the man with the
man
golden
with the
gun.
golden
That's
gun.
much later.
Ah.
He has a third nipple for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. I love how cheesy.
Well, that's the thing. Let's just talk briefly about Bond. Like a lot of Bond fans, to be fair, rightly consider Sean Connery the best. You know, he was the first. He was classic movies that he done mostly. There's a couple of ones which aren't as classic, but when I was a kid, what caught my attention more was the Roger Moore sort of period in the 70s and 80s. And I don't know if it's just because it was campier then, but it was also more fun and a bit more ridiculous. I don't know, that probably just appealed to me as a kid. And even now, if I'm thinking I feel like rewatching a Bond, it's probably going to be one of his just for the fun factor.
Yeah. He did a TV show called The Saint, which
Saint,
is essentially just Bond. And I remember as a kid, because I used to collect a lot of cards that had autographs and things on them. And you could get his on The Saint, and I never managed to get it, which is a shame. But I did get a part of his costume.
My.
So I own a piece of Roger Moore's costume, which if I find, you can have.
It's I mean, to be honest, like he's deceased now, so you could probably sell that for a good amount.
Maybe I'm not. I'd rather it go to a good home. I'm not a greedy man. I am.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot of memorabilia anymore. I've got a couple of costume cards. Well, one of them's costume, one of them's prop. And weirdly enough, they're both from Spartacus Vengeance, which I'm actually rewatching at the moment. So
yeah, of all the costume cards and things I've got, the most expensive one I've got is from the Wizard of Oz.
Holy shit!
Yeah, shit you not. They did a card set, and there was a place that we go to. We used to go to. It's not open anymore. It was a card shop that would sell the boxes, and they went down at one point to 20 quid. And I was a kid at the time, so 20 quid was a lot of money. But I thought, if you get anything in the set, you're looking at a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I thought, 20 quid, go on, I'll take it. And my mother's a huge, huge fan. She's got loads of stuff. She's got a piece of Dorothy's dress, which is ridiculous. She's got the bit of the lion's hair doubled up with a bit of the Tin Man's like hat or something like that. But the one I got, which is one of the few things she never managed to get, was a piece of straw from the Straw Man. And
Scarecrow.
it goes at the moment for about the last time I saw it was 580 quid.
Shit. I mean, it's arguably one of the most famous fucking movies of all time.
Yeah, and he was her favorite. Um, she's got a lot of the Munchkins autographs. The most expensive card in it, which we never managed to get, me or my mother, and she bought a lot of the boxes, was the Wicked Witch's autograph, which they got on it was a check that the company, which I forget the name of, would cut out and put into a little card. It was her actual signature. And Dorothy, they did the same, but for some reason the Wicked Witches was the most expensive. You were looking at it like 3-4 grand.
Do you mind twisting your mic a bit again? It just seems to get like a little staticky.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Yeah, talk a bit.
Oh, is that any better?
Maybe. It's something up with your mic because it was like
Getting
weird.
Bad. Oh.
How's
it going now? Is it better now?
Oh, to be honest, we're just gonna get through it. It's fine. Like I had audio issues last week. You'll have a couple this week. It doesn't like we can still hear you. It's just got a bit of like a crackle to it.
Yeah, which isn't very nice. I'm sorry, guys. I'll switch up to my professional mic next time.
It's intermittent. I wouldn't bother too much.
Yeah. But we did actually have a point for this episode as well, didn't we? There was something that we've seen. Sort
of. Like I was debating not whether to bring up another movie as well, but we're kind of going on for a while. Okay, you mentioned it last week. Actually, we were on the subject of WandaVision and the Marvel movies. You mentioned Antman and Wasp, which I hadn't seen at the time. I have actually since watched it, so
yeah.
If you want to share our thoughts and feelings on that.
Yeah, happy to. I
mean, it's from 2018, but like the show isn't called Johnny Come Latelys for nothing.
I guess. Good point. I mean, I'd already seen it, and I think in last show I already gave half my opinion on it anyway, so I'll quickly just say that I enjoyed it and was very surprised with it, but I'm very interested to hear what you thought because you haven't told me your opinion.
Also, also kind of surprised because I thought it would be fine because one of the things about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is some of them are really good. A couple of them are bad, but most of them are like okay, too good. You know, like a solid 3 stars.
Yeah.
This one was actually a lot more fun than I was expecting it to be.
Completely agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was 2 hours, like a solid 2 hours. Was not bored at all. In fact, anything it kind of flew by. I was just kind of enjoying everything that happened. I had no issue really with anything that was on screen, and yeah, those are my basic feelings anyway.
Yeah, 2 hours was it? God.
Yep, 2 hours. I mean, I think that includes credits. I just noticed because I was watching it on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you've noticed this as well with Disney Plus, and anybody else who's listening, you might be surprised to find if you watch something on Disney Plus, there's a little tab as the credits roll, and it's like, do you want to skip credits and things, or when you come off, where you can actually look at sometimes if they've got them extra features like a DVD.
Oh, haven't noticed.
My mind was blown. I was watching it was Deep Rising, which was on it, and it had like outtakes and stuff, and I'm like, so that they've kind of got the DVD extras and everything. We did mention last week as well with Disney Plus. Fuck me.
Shit. It's for a streaming service, it really needs to fucking up its game a bit.
For Disney it does. It's got enough money. I
mean, they're a borderline monopoly. I'm sure they can afford it.
I know. But that's a nice touch though. I think if that's the price we're paying, that's pretty cool though, because you can look at extra features on certain things. I've not checked for the likes of The Simpsons, but I bet there are. But as you were saying about Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think some of the elements in it, you've got a good cast.
Good cast. Yeah. Paul Rudd is just...
He's delightful.
I don't know if he's just likable in real life and it comes through. He's just really good at playing likable, but fucking love the guy. Like, in everything I've seen, even if he's in a bad fucking movie, he's been like an enjoyable aspect of it.
Like Role Models. I got dragged to see that with...
Holy shit.
Captain Steamboat, yeah.
Why?
Oh, right, God, I thought my mic was going again. I was like, oh, God.
No, no,
But yeah,
I'm just shocked you've seen role models. I haven't. I've just heard how bad it is.
utter shite. He loved it all because of the LARP. Um, there was elements though, and it was all Paul Rudd that actually made it kind of passable. In my opinion, I wouldn't ever watch it again.
Is it Halloween 5 where he plays a grown up?
Oh yeah, Halloween 6, Curse
Halloween
of Michael
6. That's
Myers. He
it. Yeah,
plays.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the. They're actually getting the original actor to come back for the next movie as well.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think on Halloween 6 that was his first role, a major role. I know he appears in Friends.
Yeah,
That's another thing I've never seen.
he was like a recurring character in the last season of Friends. I seem to know him more from TV. Like he's done had a few like TV roles, and obviously some comedy movies of varying quality.
Yeah,
He's just really likable, and even the first Ant-Man film, I'd say Ant-Man and Wasp better, but even the first one, it's still relatively good, and he's still really entertaining in it.
yeah,
He's kind of a likable everyman, as opposed to like Hank Pym, who is supposed to be obviously the main Ant-Man from the the Marvel universe, at least initially.
yeah.
But I know he's just got a really cool quality about him. I like Evangeline Lilly. I haven't fucking seen her or anything since the Hobbit movies, but
Is she in those? Oh, God.
yeah, she's like literally the female character they invented just so there was a female character in the movie.
No.
She plays an elf, and obviously before then, one of her big roles was in Lost, which, yeah,
I've not seen that either.
don't waste your time.
I think I guessed the end and when I heard the first episode premise.
Most people did.
Yeah. So I didn't bother with it. But she's a good actress. Michelle Pfeiffer.
I was
Very
surprised
happy
to
to
see. I
see
didn't
her
know
back
she
on
was in
screen.
it. That was a good surprise.
Yeah, and to play the original Wasp,
Yeah.
who's one of my... She's not my favorite, but she's one of the best original Avengers in the comics as well. So well cast. You know, I saw something recently about Michelle Pfeiffer, and I hope I didn't mention this last episode. I'm bad at that. With Catwoman.
Not that I remember.
Thank God, because I was on about it to someone else the other day. It was a deleted... No, it wasn't a delete. It was a making of the Batman part 2, where she plays Catwoman. Do you know the scene where she's using the whip?
Yes.
And she gets the mannequins' heads? That's one take, and it's Michelle Pfeiffer doing it.
Oh shit, that's cool. Did she like learn how to do it?
Yeah, she's like deadly with a with a whip, which is awesome. But it showed you it. It was like a long shot of because it must cut away at one point, and the camera just kept rolling.
Yeah.
And you can see Michelle Pfeiffer just whipping it, and it's one hit each time. She's getting every one of them. It's so cool, and I like that. I just think that's neat. Like, it's just dangerous.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, it was really nice surprise to see her because she's an actress I like, and I just didn't know she was in it. So when she showed up, that was pretty cool.
I hope I look anywhere near that good at her age.
Oh God,
well.
yeah. I mean, it's Hollywood. I'm sure like they just bathe themselves in the blood of children or something, but it works. And
Do it.
I mean, Michael Douglas isn't holding himself too poorly together either.
No, true. But they're quite likable, and as you mentioned there, Hank Pym. Because when I first heard in Ant-Man, it wasn't Hank Pym being Ant-Man; it was someone else who is in the comics as well. I remember thinking, "Oh, I liked Hank Pym. I've got like one of an early appearance, so I was kicking off almost."
Yeah.
And then it was Paul Rudd. I just thought, it's all right. He's actually one of the worst things, which is saying something about the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good film. That if Michael Douglas is one of the worst things about your film, you're doing something all right.
Yeah.
And it was something you mentioned as well, I think, to me in text form. The grandeur of the problem is also, it's kind of nice that it's not end of the universe.
It's like smaller scale and more self-contained.
We've mentioned Doctor Who a lot, but this about Doctor Who, like season finales are always end of the universe. The world's going to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with just somebody running away from a Dalek?
Yeah.
One person dying is more tragic sometimes if it's done correctly.
There was This was also end of the universe, well, more correctly, restarting the universe. But Matt Smith's first season finale, although it was dealing with those topics as well, it was also very understated.
Yeah.
Where it was no big battle or big spectacle, it was just the Doctor and a few other characters trying to solve the problem, and I kind of liked that because it wasn't just overblown and like epic to the point of like it was just kind of fucking redundant.
Yeah.
And it's what I liked about Antman and Wasp, like especially considering it takes place right before like Endgame.
Yeah. Did you watch? Well, I imagine you did the credit scenes as well.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
That was really cool, and kind of reflects like what I really like in Endgame, which is like the opening scene of that, where it's just really disturbing, like loved ones just fucking vanishing into ash.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I'm trying to remember the villain's name's Ghost, is it?
Yeah, Ghost is in it. I don't know. As I said last week, I really don't know much about the Marvel comic universe, so I imagine that's probably a character.
Apparently, it is, and looks a little bit different. I honestly think the costume, because I did look her up. Actually, in the comics, it's a guy for a start, but the costume in the movie is actually a lot better.
Yeah,
which is very rare. And I think because they pick characters like that, because we mentioned in WandaVision, the villain in that as well, with them being minor, you can kind of do what you want with them. Nobody would really care. And it works. It worked in its favor, definitely, for them. And the fighting in it's really good.
Yeah, like the phasing.
They're going up and down like as small as possible to avoid like punches, and she's phasing through them and stuff. And it's kind of cool.
I really love the chase scene towards the end, like the cars and the traffic, because it did what I really liked in the first Ant-Man movie, where it plays with like the changing sizes and perspectives.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just brings me so much weird joy. I don't know if it's like a kid brain thing, because I remember being like a kid and playing with toys of varying non-proportional sizes to each other. Like a car which was like this big and a man like this big. It just kind of reminds me of that, especially when it is like the toys are being used as like weapons, and there's the fight in the first Ant-Man as well, where like it's basically a fight on the train, but it's like a Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh, that was awesome. And the long shot cut they do where it lands on one of them and just
yeah.
That was classic.
I really love that shit, and God, like I have it's kind of dreamlike as well, you know, how like size just doesn't seem to be a consistent thing in some dreams.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And I don't know, I really fucking love that, especially how they just kept switching between like full-sized cars to like toy cars essentially, but driving them around.
Yeah, and I love Giant Man. I just think Giant Man's a really cool character that's not very used. They put Goliath in it.
Yeah,
and it's also the guy who plays Morpheus, but he's also in Hannibal as well.
Lawrence Fishburne, yeah.
Yeah, great idea. Like him as the original Goliath. Yeah, I'm in. Like I'm sold. Excellent. It's a shame you never got to see Goliath though, because obviously it's just Giant Man essentially. But it would have been cool to see a few more things like that. One thing to mention in the comics, if you're a fan, you'll know in Civil War, Tony Stark clones Thor because he's not around for whatever reason, but it doesn't quite work, and Thor kills Goliath. Like he just shoots right through him, and he's still dead in the comics. So I was a bit worried for Fishburne's character in it, to be honest with you. I thought they were going to kill him off, but they didn't. So
no,
he might come back.
It's fair enough. I do feel like I should really read some Marvel sometimes, but
Civil War is definitely worth a read.
But like, where do you start with some of them?
Honestly, as stupid as it sounds, if you like a certain character, try to start from the beginning. Obviously, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Don't bother trying to buy the old comics anymore. Jesus, even now it's gotten worse. But reprints, and a lot of the time they're online for free anyway, so it's just worth.
And when you say like start from the beginning, like the very beginning of those characters.
Yeah, I would.
Because I do know a little bit about more DC. If actually this has come up in conversation recently, someone's asked as well, like start with some characters like Wonder Woman. I'd honestly say first reboot, like after Crisis of Infinite Earths, because you know, you're missing out a few decades of story, but like the whole reason they did the whole reboot to start with was to like provide a good jumping off point, and most of them, like you had the Superman of that time as well, when they did like the first reboot with him. Like
Yeah.
that's a really good one to start off on, apparently.
That's the thing with DC. They've done so many reboots now.
Needless.
Apparently the first one was okay though.
No, it was, and I haven't actually read all of Flashpoint, which is what led to the New 52 when that happened.
Yeah.
But I have read, and I do own Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Mm.
And it's not just like a random event happens and the universe restarts. It's like a universe-wide catastrophe, and the story arc itself is so long because it accounts for like the destruction of the multiverse.
Right.
And I don't think you're ever going to top that. And if you're trying to restart DC again,
Yeah. It feels like because they've done it once before, a new writer gets a hold of it and thinks, "Well, I want to do a new one."
yeah, but it's mad because like when did DC's comics start? Like the fucking 20s or 30s?
Yeah, like Superman, I think was 38.
Yeah, so you go like 60 years of comics, then you do a restart, and then you do your next restart within about 20 years after that.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the fucking point?
To be honest, you could say the same with likes of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans and then
Yeah.
doing Amazing Spider-Man. This is a very unpopular opinion. MCU Spider-Man is fine.
Mm.
People jizz over him. I don't. He's fine. He's okay.
Tom
In fact,
Holland,
yeah, I find him kind of dull because the first one is essentially an Iron Man movie. The second one is essentially a We Miss Iron Man movie. Okay.
His identity and character is just way too tied to Iron Man.
Yeah, and the second one, he's not even in New York. It's like, well, okay, then I get why they do it. Marvel and Disney, for some reason, have all the money in the world, but want to film it as cheaply as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So filming in Europe obviously is a lot cheaper than filming in New York. When you think of Spider-Man, you think of him in New York. For the love of God, just do that. It would be really nice to see Tom Holland play actual Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But no. Although in apparently Multiverse, you're going to have all three of them. And I think it was you who even pointed out that there's a very good chance that that's just going to be flashback. You're going to see old man Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in a flashback. It'll be Doctor Strange doing one of his weird circles, and that's all you see.
I don't think it was me that pointed it out, but no, I do see that happening.
Yeah, so do I. And everybody's kind of patting themselves, saying, "Oh, you're going to see all three of them." Andrew Garfield was a bit shit, wasn't he? Like his costume was class though. Like he had the best eyes on a Spider-Man, probably.
I mean, it'd be cool if they do that, but after seeing what they did with Quicksilver and WandaVision, I'm mildly worried.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that was your sound went off a bit again.
Oh, is it a bit better now?
It's fine now. I don't know if it's your microphone.
Yeah, it might be. I'm gonna try not move around so much, guys. I'm sorry, but
it's fine.
yeah, I mean, Ant-Man and the Wasp though, like again with them being, because they're not characters on the surface that you care about. They were always sort of in the background, even or side characters. It's like if they did a Hawkeye movie, you'd think, oh, it's Hawkeye. I don't really care. But
speaking of, have you seen the trailer for Black Widow?
I've not seen the trailer. No.
There's one on at the moment. When I was checking IMDb earlier, I had a quick look through it. Can't really say one thing or the other. I don't know. I don't know if it's just all going to be flashback or if they're bringing her back to life. No idea.
I hope it's not back to life. Like I was annoyed when they were bringing Vision back, but the way they did it kind of saved it.
Yeah.
Where if as soon as you reintroduce the fact that dying doesn't matter, franchise dead. Look at Once Upon a Time. Death was the one thing they couldn't cure. That was the whole point until they did.
Yeah,
over and over again.
I stuck with that show way longer than I should have because it got redundant quite earlier on, and
for that reason, though, isn't it? Like death's no longer a consequence.
And character development's not a fucking consequence either, because by next season, the redeemed bad guy's probably just gonna be evil again anyway.
Especially Rumple.
Yeah.
Yeah. His character goes through ridiculous changes, which is odd. And apparently the last series of that is a reboot.
Yeah, I didn't even fucking bother with the last season. I was like, done.
Nah, I don't think I will. But again, with the Black Widow, if she comes back to life, I'm out.
It
I feel like this film's a little bit too late, if you know what I mean. Like
it
it's
is.
if they'd done it, her appearance in Iron Man 2, I think was when she first appears.
Yeah.
Then the next thing was Black Widow. Awesome, I'm in.
The it is from what I got from the trailer, it is mostly flashbacks. It seems to be somewhat of an origin story. I
Mm,
just don't know if maybe they're going to tie it into her coming back or not. I don't know. Kind of hope not as well, because lack of consequences and all that.
yeah. Yeah, I think the only time that's ever successfully been done is Doctor Who with the regeneration.
Which they've killed now as well, because they've essentially
Yeah.
removed the regeneration limit amongst the other fucking backstory they fucked up.
Which is bizarre because even in modern day continuity, they bring that up as well.
Yeah, but
So
the Doctor's no longer a Time Lord who's limited lives. They're now this other superior alien species that can
yeah,
regenerate an infinite amount of times.
the Doctor's just a god now.
Yeah, so now there's just no tension.
Mm. I have actually been told very recently to watch a new series of Doctor Who. It's not as bad as people say. I was told. I'm going to reserve judgment. I don't know if I will watch it, to be honest. It feels like I think we mentioned last episode. I was watching. It was a Capaldi one,
Hmm.
and it just got me thinking. It was like reflecting on what I've heard about the new series, and like then remembering about the Troughton eras, Tom Baker even, and I got really sad.
Yeah,
It was like watching an old friend, like I don't know, lose. You've I think you mentioned this last time because you've worked in health industry and with the elderly
yeah.
losing their fat. It feels almost like that. Now, I'm not belittling that
No,
in
no, no,
a
of
real
course.
way. It's just we mention it every episode inevitably because it is very important. So to see that, it feels almost a bit like when South Park said Indiana Jones was being raped.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the feeling, and it is important. It's not as important as a loved one suffering
Yeah.
anything like that. Um, but genuinely, yeah, felt sad.
Yeah, I mean, even with Indiana Jones, I suppose you could say the same with Doctor Who as well. You could just choose to ignore what happens after a certain point and just
Yeah,
enjoy
it's
the old ones.
what I
But
do.
Doctor Who is like going out of its way to rewrite its fucking history.
I know, I know. Mind you, 50th anniversary, we do rave about that. Again, pretty much every show.
It still wasn't, but it hadn't rewritten its history at that point. It's just like in the last season that they made, like they really
Yeah,
decided to say, "Oh fuck it."
that's cool. Ape. Yeah. Um,
But
I don't. I might one day I might watch them when I'm just curious.
I mean, yeah, maybe I'm not coming this from like the best perspective because I haven't really watched them, but I've seen clips, I've seen other people's commentary on it, and the very fact that they've decided just to rewrite the Doctor's backstory and time old history like that is just so offensive.
Yeah, especially what they've done with essentially Hartnell.
Yeah, and again, it's for like identity politics reasons as well, like just shallow virtue
Mm,
signaling.
mm. No, and that's my worry with the Black Widow to a degree as
Mm.
well. It feels like it's too little, too late. Um, I'm looking forward to it because I think it's Scarlett Johansson, isn't it?
Yeah,
She's a
yeah.
great actress, and what I really found really annoying about Endgame, there's a few issues I had with Endgame because Infinity War was incredible. The way they deal with Iron Man's death, everybody's so upset and so sad, and rightly so. That's fine. He had an effect on that universe, let alone world.
Yeah.
Nobody really seemed to mourn Black Widow. The Hulk was a little upset,
Hmm.
but then just got over it. And then when Iron Man dies, everybody turns up, and it's like,
Yes, yeah, there's
no,
even a bit during Iron Man's funeral where I think it might actually be Scarlet Witch
mm,
and Hawkeye are like there at Stark's funeral, and I was just kind of thinking, so did your loved ones get the same treatment?
yeah, I know, no, no. And I get why that was more a fan thing, like
Oh yeah,
this is the end of the era and things. But if you're going to do that for one character, maybe make a big deal of because she's been in it since Iron Man 2, which is early on.
Yeah.
And she's been incredibly important because in like sort of Avengers and things.
Honestly, as you said though, she really should have gotten her solo movie back then.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it was just a Black Widow and Hawkeye film, they should have done it back then.
That might have made a Hawkeye slightly interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I really don't like him at all as a character. The actor's fine; he's a great actor. But I would have preferred him to be somebody. If they cut out Hawkeye entirely, nobody would notice.
No, I mean he's got like his role in the first Avengers movie because he's partly a villain through like most of it, and then becomes a hero. But, yeah. God, it's weird thinking about how long ago that was as well. Like that whole thing started. It's like over a decade now.
I was going to say, I remember going to see the Avengers with you, and we went in. Oh, go on.
No, and actually disliking it.
Yeah, that was it. Absolutely. We sat at the end of it. We just didn't get the hype, and I feel like that's what it was. It was the hype. It was everybody wouldn't shut up about it.
It was the hype, and it was people sucking Joss Whedon's dick, which is funny considering what's going on now.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like hype, and I think this is part of my issue with like a lot of nerd fandoms. Is like the fucking religious, delirious level of like devotion and hype that is devoted sometimes to it, and we had so much of the Avengers. There was even posters, I remember, in Forbidden Planet calling Joss Whedon like Nerd God.
Yeah.
And
King of the Nerds and all that.
Yeah, having all that shit go on and then eventually going to see the movie, it was like, huh, is that it?
Yeah.
But then, after a little while, allowing, expectations and things to settle again, rewatching the Avengers, like, you know what? Really fun fucking movie.
Yeah. I actually remember the time it happened. It was a couple of years later. It was Christmas time. I went to visit my folks, and Avengers came on, and we watched it from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I ended up buying it. It's one of the few Marvel movies I own on disc.
Same. Likewise with Guardians, that's another thing, but in a different sort of way. The movie itself, both of them, they're amazing. The characters I couldn't care about. Normally, when it was announced, I remember thinking, what are they wasting their time with that for?
Mm-hmm.
Turned out to be one of the best films in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Maybe I'm just too old and burnt out now. I don't get swayed by a lot of the fandom hype for things now. Not that there's much going on.
Actually.
Not as much going on at the minute because, if anything, a lot of our franchises are just fucking dying now.
Yeah, with the aforementioned Doctor Who,
Star Trek, and they're both things which I am fans of, and they're both things which are in the fucking toilet.
No, I've never been huge in Star Trek. I watched the classic series for kind of the cheese value, and I like a lot of the actors in it, like Shatner and things.
Yeah.
And then I've seen the recent movies, but I remember you mentioning the most recent series just being a bit like a lecture again.
And do you know what? I give it my chance, and I think one of the things I do sometimes is, especially if it's a franchise or a product I like, I will try and really focus on the positives. But given time, like, I realized those positives really didn't save it, and then the virtue signaling and the behind the scenes stuff just gets really bad, and I didn't even watch the last season of Discovery. I've watched enough people's reactions to it to know that it's fucking hilarious, really bad. And then it was the same with the Picard series. Like, it was a big thing. They were bringing back Patrick Stewart like Captain Picard, but no, it's just more misery porn and like.
Because in theory, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, but it's more, blah blah blah, virtue signaling, and it's
shame.
Absolute horseshit. And then they've made a fucking animated comedy show, which I'm not bothered watching.
No.
God, there's just nothing to look forward to. They're making another series, supposedly, though they've been talking about it for a while, as well as a couple of other ones, but I think they've, like, totally fell off the radar now.
I know my dad watched one of them, and he watched the first episode of one of them and thought, no, I won't bother, and then watched the Orville,
Yeah.
And he recommended that, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's really good.
I haven't seen the Orville, but like a lot of the people I follow online have said,
Mm.
if you're a fan of classics, if you're a fan of Star Trek and you're really sick with the way things are now, watch that instead because that actually is more Star Trek than actual Star Trek now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I fell out of love a little bit with Seth MacFarlane
Hmm.
with the state of Family Guy and American Dad. But you can see why he doesn't want to do it anymore. But
No.
if you cross a producer, you you'll never work again. So he's kind of forced into making these sometimes. But he put all his writing in the Orville, and you can see it. And I've only seen like it must be about 7 or 8 episodes, and I think there's 2 seasons.
Mm.
It's class. It's really good.
Well, I know it's something of a passion project because Seth MacFarlane actually wanted to bring back Star Trek and do his own series,
Oh, that would have been awesome.
which is why he did the Orville because he wasn't allowed to do that because I think they ended up making Discovery.
Oh, but the Orville is another one. It just seemed to it's gone now. And
Hmm.
a whimper and a prayer rather than a fanfare. But it's one of those I can guarantee in future. Give it 10 years or so, it'll come back. People, it won't be remade. It won't be done again. Seth might even be done with it.
Hmm.
People will revisit it and think, actually, this is really good.
Yeah.
I hope so. To be honest.
No, probably. Just trying to think if there's anything else to say about Ant-Man and Wasp. I haven't actually went super in depth into it because there isn't a whole lot to say about it, to be honest. Because when we were talking about WandaVision, obviously it was kind of going through episode by episode. This is just a film.
Mm.
It's just a good film. It's like a fun one.
I would highly recommend it. I think the best takeaway is that if you're like me and a big Marvel fan of both the comics, even if you're not into the comics and the movies, you might overlook it, which I did. It was the last one I
Hmm.
watched for the first time because I skipped it and went straight into Infinity War, thinking that it's just Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be inconsequential. That actually goes in its favor.
Yes.
It is slightly inconsequential, but not when you think about it because of the pin particles later on. And the cast is 100% the reason why. I'd give it honestly a solid 7 out of 10.
And I'd argue it leads more directly into Endgame than Captain Marvel does.
God, yeah, yeah. uh,
In fact, it
no,
definitely has more of a fucking impact in the events because, Ant-Man actually is a really key player in the events of Endgame.
I think it was me. Me and my partner mentioned this because she loved WandaVision,
Hmm.
and Wanda now is by far the most powerful Avenger, right? That there is now. I can guarantee it. She's just obscenely powerful, but she was supposed to be. She is in the comics as well, so she's finally got the power that she deserves. She's a strong female character, unless maybe Captain Marvel. But that's how you write a strong female character.
Yeah.
You've got an arc, you've got a purpose, you've got something they've got to go through. She's very flawed,
Yes.
and she's the one. It was my partner who mirrored them up. She went not like Captain Marvel, who just is. She's Superman but better,
Hmm.
basically. No reason, no strife, no trouble. She got blasted with some I don't know stupid thing out of a spaceship and is now the best thing in the world or universe. That's boring. It's a
Yeah.
Mary Sue character. It's the definition. I don't know where I'm going with that. I just wanted to shit on that film. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, if I'm being very honest with myself, it's not a bad movie. Actually, I had kind of fun watching Captain Marvel. It does definitely have its flaws, and to be honest, the main character is one of the primary ones.
Yeah,
But no, but Ant-Man and Wasp, that is actually a really fun movie, and I wasn't expecting it, but that is one I would
yeah.
happily rewatch in future as well.
A solid 7 out of 10. Easy for
Yeah,
me.
like
Um,
all the elements are there, and they all work as well. There's not really any downside to the character at all. Like
mhm.
the
There's
film,
really nice bits at the beginning with Paul Rudd and his daughter,
yeah.
which because I don't care if like kids in films and things like that, but it was kind of really endearing. It was like,
It
oh,
it weirdly actually makes him one of the more humanized members of the Avengers, the
yeah,
MCU cast anyway, because he does have like the family where a lot of the other ones are just kind of their own entity most of the
yeah.
time.
Or they have a relationship with another superhero to a point.
Yeah, but with Paul Rudd's like character, you know, first Ant-Man and Wasp, and in Endgame as well, there's like a continuing thing with him and his family.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's enough peril. Do you know what I mean? He's doing it for his daughter. He's doing it to save his family.
And
Awesome. That's great.
not a shit on Hawkeye at all, but you know, unlike Hawkeye's family, you actually get to know his daughter in the movies as
Yeah.
well. Like she's actually a character on her own. She isn't just like you know, a plot device.
Yeah. And it's a real shame because Hawkeye's wife in it is the same actress who played Velma, who's a great actress. So it would have been really nice to see.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, I guess. She's just not used. Paul Rudd in Endgame actually as well. His like people criticize how he came back because a rat pushes a button or some bullshit, whatever. But
It's
when
a
he
comic.
appears, yeah, exactly. When he reappears again and goes to the memorial and things, and his reaction to it's kind of a really. He seems to be the very human character I've noticed in Marvel.
Yeah,
You've got
I think
Thor, who's a god. You can't relate to that.
that might
And you've
honestly
got
be why I probably like him so much. And
yeah,
like, I'm not saying the others are bad, but you've as I said, Thor's a god, Stark's a billionaire, Captain
Hulk's,
America is like a war hero from out of time.
yeah, Hulk's the one of the most intelligent men on Earth until he gets angry. Then he's the most powerful man on Earth.
Yeah,
You can't really relate.
but you know, Paul Rudd's character, and I keep saying his character because I actually keep forgetting his fucking name.
Yeah, I've forgotten it entirely. To be honest.
Because I just see Paul Rudd, but
No.
he's like he's like a human being. Like you can relate to him.
Yeah. So it brings with it a sense of familiarity that you don't get with any other character.
Mm-hmm.
The closest one, and that's why I really like him because I don't like him in the comics that much, is Captain America.
Yeah.
And he's the closest one, and when you break it down there, as you say, he's a war hero that got frozen in time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a stretch still. Like,
And I do like him in the movies, though I haven't read him in the comics. But Ant-Man's definitely more of a human character, and
yeah,
definitely
I
more
did
relatable.
mention last episode. I've only seen still episode 1 of Falcon and the Hawkeye and Falcon
None of it yet.
and a Soldier. Well, you've probably seen on the internet, everybody's exploded over the new Captain America guy,
Mm.
who is, in fact, the actor is Kurt Russell's son as well,
Okay.
who's recently been getting death threats for that. It's like he's playing a part. He's actually playing a part who was in the comics in a very similar sort of way as well. Captain America does die in the comics at the end of Civil War. That's the point. I won't go into it, but I just this is why fans ruin things.
Yeah, can I also just add this to my mountain evidence of just like why our species just kind of sucks and
Death threats, though? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, do you want them to bring Chris Evans back because that would ruin it?
mm-hmm.
He's great, and that's why you love it so much, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm questioning myself a little bit now because of Ant-Man recently, but Captain America is my favorite like on-screen Avenger, but I don't want him back.
Probably mine.
His character's done.
Yeah, just to bring it back to the Avengers, the bit where they're in the helicarrier and you've got the Black Widow's fighting the Hulk. You've got Hawkeye doing his thing. You've got Loki. You've got everyone doing whatever it is. And you've got Captain America jumping around helping Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene typifies it all so much because I love them all. I like Iron Man. I like the Hulk. I like all that. Captain America, at one point, he jumps over a massive gap on a helicarrier. You think if he failed or slipped or got shot, he's dead.
Yeah.
And that kind of was awesome, and that really does. It pulls in why Paul Rudd's Ant-Man character is important in the MCU, because the ones that are closest to you, you kind of care for a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But that was exactly why. And you can't really relate to the likes of Iron Man, who's essentially just Batman with a metal suit as well. But don't give anyone death threats for a part they're playing, man.
No, definitely not. And that I think what you're saying as well also applies to like even the DC universe. And as someone who's read more DC and kind of knows more about that universe and as a fan, I do get that's the disconnect though between a lot of Marvel universe and a lot of DC is DC tends to deal with a lot of really powerful characters and a lot of world-changing events, and it's a little less grounded than Marvel all the time. And
Yeah.
I totally see where that can be a disconnect for people.
I think that's why Batman's the most popular character they've got,
Yeah,
because their villains are sometimes just, well, the Joker is basically just a human clown
yeah.
who's hyper intelligent, but he could die.
hmm And then Batman himself is obviously there's exceptions and things have happened in comics because they're fucking comics. But Batman is essentially a mortal man as well. He's just very wealthy and well trained
Yeah,
and
yeah.
smart.
I love Superman though, as well. To be honest, so we're not saying that these are bad characters.
No, no.
Or anything. It's just sometimes you want.
I spent like an hour of the day watching a whole YouTube video about like a certain Superman arc, and I do like him as well. I think it's at least just the level of like an icon and like an aspirational thing.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
Superman.
There was one thing I was talking about with my co-host of the other show that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
We were thinking of potentially doing a show about combining other things, so other elements. And one of the jokes I made was Sex in the City with Alien.
Yeah.
And describing what would happen. And I said 4 scarecrows get eviscerated. But one of the things that I mentioned was it was Freddy versus Jason versus Alien versus Predator versus Batman versus Superman. And then we just got chatting from there, like what would happen if, as it were. But what would happen if Facehugger got Superman?
I can answer that.
Oh, can you?
Because the video I watched today was actually the Alien versus Superman comic arc.
Oh, it's awesome. You see, I've read part of that. I read the Batman one more, I think.
He does. Superman does actually get implanted at one point.
Oh, hey.
Now, this is big spoilers for the arc, but you know,
go for it.
It's a pretty old comic, and I wouldn't mind picking it up myself now if I can. He does get implanted, and he's also away from the sun at the time, so he's actually at a much weaker power level. So there is a risk that it will kill him. But just in the nick of time, he does kind of get sent into some solar energy as it's about to burst through him. And because Superman's just so powerful and awesome, he manages to sort of regurgitate the chest burster and like spit out its desiccated corpse.
No.
Which sounds ridiculous, but at the same time, it does kind of make sense in Superman's universe.
Yeah. I read it was Batman vs. Alien, and there's a crocodile alien in it, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just the idea of a flying xenomorph that would just be happy enough in daylight.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do know they actually go back to Superman versus Aliens again later, but I don't know much about that. But I think the issue, the thing what I said there is when Superman was implanted, he was in a weakened state, like he was more regular human than he was Superman.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why he could do it. Say if he was implanted as a full-on Kryptonian, that would be something different.
Yeah, because
like
at that
full-on
point,
superpowered.
Exactly, because it would be like a man versus a xenomorph in strength difference. So you'd be Superman strength. The alien would be Superman strength and more.
Yeah,
because it's a Xeno version of Superman, just like the Predator alien, which is an awful movie, but it's kind of neat. Which I love the Xenomorphs. That's honestly my favorite alien put to film.
Oh, one of the best like creature designs of all time.
Oh yeah, and there's so much you can do with it like that. I actually like the what if sort of scenarios, and one of the ones that I come up with, I think that there's only one other alien that's probably more alien than a Xenomorph, and that's the Thing.
Yeah.
That's game over no matter what, though, I suppose. But no, that's kind of cool that you managed to. Well, you've answered that, which is awesome as well. But as you say, if a Facehugger got him under an orange sun, is it? Because it's the red sun where he loses his powers.
Yeah, if it was an orange sun, that might be different. Although, I suppose it depends how much he resists. Because when he was fully powered against the aliens, they would like try and hit him with their jackhammer jaw, and it would break.
I was going to say he might just rip it off his face, to be fair.
Just bite it. Like...
Yeah. I've got the very, very first crossover comic of Marvel and DC, and it's Spider-Man versus Superman. And you think, well, why? It's Superman every day.
Yeah.
And I think I've mentioned to yourself, Lex Luthor shoots, for some reason, Spider-Man with a super beam that puts him if he was a human on the same level as Superman, but he's also got Spider-Man's strength on top of it. So he's sort of kicking the shit out of him as he's doing it, and he doesn't know why he can fly, why he's beating Superman up, or who he is, which is weird. And then it wears off. But what I never understood, it wears off, and Superman goes to punch Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Psychically knows that this power's come off Spider-Man, pulls his punch, and the wind that comes from his fist knocks Spider-Man off the roof.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense at all. I think he used super breath, to be honest, but I just never understood why Lex Luthor just didn't continuously shoot himself with that beam.
I don't know.
He'd take over the Earth. Then again, I never understood why Superman never just wore a lead suit and collected all the kryptonite on Earth and threw it into space, to be fair. But
no. God, all right. We're talking about this. It actually kind of makes me want to bring up something else. I'm not going to, though, because it might take a while and we're already going really long on this. But I have seen the Snyder cut, so I think maybe next recording I will actually talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I've seen the original, so I can't imagine there's any spoilers that will ruin it for me.
Not really, but I will say it is definitely a different beast from the Whedon cut.
Nice. Good, because it was a fine film. I enjoyed it, but the Whedonisms, I think, needed to be removed.
Oh, God. Their absence makes a lot of difference to the tone.
Yeah, I'll never forget there's a scene, and we won't go into it much, but there's a scene where Batman's riding in his car, and Aquaman turns up, and they make some odd quip about his pointy ears or something. As they're about to go into battle, it's like you had an awesome-looking scene with a cool cast. The Batmobile, you've got Aquaman riding it, and you shag it with a bit of crap humor.
Well, this is the only thing I'm going to say on it yet, because I said this is kind of a topic for another day, and we're going a bit long. But the weird thing Whedon done was make Batman the comic relief, and Batman is not comic relief, and it just doesn't fucking work. And that is something that the Snyder Cut does not have. So.
Oh, good. I need to say it, and the villain apparently looks better.
The villain looks better, and they also expand the villain universe a bit.
Oh, cool.
Like, you actually see some of the more major players. Don't know why I'm being so coy about it, because everyone knows by now, but it's more, I just want to bring it up later.
Yeah, we'll do next episode. Good idea.
Yeah, by all means, but fuck yeah. Antman and Wasp, you should watch it, especially if you like the other Marvel movies and you haven't for some reason.
Yeah.
I think there's only one Marvel movie I haven't seen now, and that's Black Panther.
Yeah, I watched that very recently, just because I wanted to go from start to finish.
Yeah.
The only one I've not watched since again is Endgame. It's fine.
Not sure how I'm going to feel about that, because I also do feel like that might potentially suffer from a bit of a hype issue. But we'll see.
It definitely does. It's worth a watch. Visually, it's a good film, and the actor who plays Black Panther,
Chadwick Boseman, Chadwick Boseman,
is incredible. Like, he's stepped out of the comics. He's just so good. There's a lot of cringe in it, though, and if you were to remove all of that, it would have been a really good film.
I've seen some clips, but we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for you then. Definitely worth a watch.
No problem. But yep, Antman and Wasp, definitely watch it. It was surprisingly an absolutely solid film.
Yeah, and for all those reasons, that's why we've not really talked about it an awful lot, is because it's just fun.
Yeah,
there's a lot of films that have a message.
And
the message in this is
I don't really want to get like bogged down like going through plot details and developments and things. So
yeah.
But
highly recommended.
But yeah, probably call it at that.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you enjoyed this show from Chernobyl by the looks of it. Yeah, Johnny Come Latelys. We will catch you next time. Anything to end on?
No, thank you very much for listening. It's been a pleasure doing the show. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna try and keep this up as consistently as possible, because I think that's one of the more important things you can do. Like, even if you don't have like super popular videos and you just want to do it for fun, I think the key is just to be consistent. Like,
exactly.
Keep uploading. Try not to take long breaks if possible. So
yeah, and that's best. I think next week, guys, I'm sorry, I'll probably use my more professional mic if this has been crackling.
That's fine.
Technical issues will be worked out. Again, it's trial and error. We've just come back after a massive break, guys.
Same. I mean, I'm still working out things now, and I probably haven't got them down spot on yet, but we'll see.
Thank you very much for listening, though.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a happy Easter, because it is Easter Sunday. So
Yeah, happy Easter.
whatever it means to you, happy Easter.